Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Good.
Good.
Good, thank you.
Awesome.
Good.
I don't know if there's a way to turn on everybody or have everybody turn on their video or not. I think that there will be in a moment, so please, bear with us for just a second. But my name is Christian Kozak. For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm the head of marketing over at the Lincolnwood Public Library, and I'm also a member of the board for the Illinois Library Association Marketing Forum, the hosts of today's roundtable. And so we're going to go ahead and get started now, but it's my pleasure to introduce Jamie from Orange Boy. Jamie's going to give us a few words.
Morning, everyone, and happy Friday and happy Friday the 13th, which in 2020, who knows what that will bring. So I wanted to thank Chris and Tamara and the Illinois Library Association for hosting today's forum. I am the sales and marketing manager at Orange Boy, and we are a proud sponsor of the forum and really excited to sponsor today's forum because we believe strongly that when talented library professionals collaborate, it increases the ability of each library to lift up their respective communities. I know that this meeting was supposed to be live all the way back in April, but excited that you guys were able to log in today and be able to meet, even if it's just virtually. So I also know that you did not log in today to hear me, so I'm going to keep this brief, but I just wanted to take a moment to introduce you to Orange Boy and Savannah, the only community engagement platform built exclusively by libraries for libraries. So Orange Boy has served the libraries and philanthropic community for more than 20 years. We work closely with more than 200 libraries across North America, including many in Illinois, and many of you are on this call. So hello, to unlock the power of data and build community engagement, increase marketing impact, and improve fundraising effort. With Savannah, you're able to deliver targeted marketing, implement customer relationship management, and demonstrate the impact of your efforts through custom reporting. You can also manage your incidents, increase fundraising, and really understand your community, those that are using the library and those that are not using the library with our market leading analytics. Anyways, as I said, I'm not going to stay here and talk to you because I know you guys want to talk to each other, but don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything that I can do for you. Happy to, if you want to chat me, I can send you my information, or Tamara has it as well. So again, we're really happy to be able to sponsor this session so that you guys can be here together. Wish we could all be in person. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Wonderful to have you, and thank you so much for the support as well. I think somebody over at ILA, Tamara probably, is going to switch everybody over to panelists, or at least give everybody the ability to turn on their microphones and cameras if they have that or if they want to. So we're just going to do that for a quick moment here. But while we're getting all of that set up, we're 8 months into this. I think we all know how to act on a Zoom webinar. So just remember to do your best to not talk over anybody. And we're gonna, keep everything civil and a judgment-free zone. There's gonna be some nice opportunities for dialogue back and forth. But it looks like we're getting, at least, yeah, it looks like people are getting moved over into panelist mode. So if you would like to turn on your camera, please feel free to. If you don't, that's obviously okay too. I just don't want to be the only one talking all day. So, and I don't want to disturb myself either. So who wants to be the first brave soul aside from me to turn on their camera? There we go. Awesome. Hi, everyone. I feel like there's like 3 things that I've gotten really good at. One is selecting like the perfect whiskey. The second is perfecting my like awkward wave hello and goodbye to everybody. And then I don't know what the third thing is, but yeah. It's so nice to see everybody though. This is really, really, really nice.
I think the third thing might be keeping camera face while searching for the leave meeting button, because sometimes you can't see it, so you're doing these awkward and then you're like, oh, everybody, that's like your face is frozen in that moment of searching for the leave button.
How can I clearly divert my eyes to my phone, which is down here, or to the leave button, which is in the bottom? Oof. All right. So the structure for today is really, this is the first one that we're doing with the roundtable. It's really just an opportunity to, one, see everybody, kind of reconnect in the library marketing world, welcome any new faces that may be joining us for the first time, and really kind of set a tone for what these meetings would like to be in the future. Us on the ILA Marketing Forum board would like to host these kind of as frequently as people want, once a month, once every 2 months, whatever the appropriate frequency might be. But I feel like we could all use the support right now for a multitude of reasons, both looking in the past and then of course looking into the future as far as we can. And so this is really an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have, show off anything that you may have that is something that worked for you. And really, so I will open it up to anybody who wants to start that conversation. If anybody has any burning questions, otherwise, we can always go into sort of the normal stuff that we usually talked about at these meetings, which is what works and what doesn't work as far as marketing goes, and e-newsletters, because those always come up too. Well, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna pause that because there are a lot of new faces. And so I think we should just take a moment. If you would like to introduce yourself, whether it's in the chat or on the screen or over the phone, if you have that capability, please feel free to. You all know me now because I already introduced myself. But if anybody would like to go, actually, I hate that because everybody's in a different order on everybody's different computer. But Daniel from Rails, I'm going to call on you first because you're right next to me on the camera thing. So if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself real quick, and then I'll call on people down my list, which is in alphabetical order by first name. So Daniel's going to go ahead and get started, and then it'll be Allison, and we'll just 2 minutes tops. Like just introduce yourself, what your title is, where you work, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Bostrom from Rails. My title is Member Engagement Manager. I haven't really been involved in the ILA Marketing Forum before, but a lot of what you all do overlaps with what I do, and so I'm just curious about what you all doing and what you're all seeing out there, and would love to kind of learn more from every one of you. So hello, everyone. Happy Friday 13th.
Oh yeah. Oof. Didn't even think about that. Allison, if you have microphone and or yes.
Yes, I think, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Allison Porch. I'm the marketing coordinator with Carroll Stream Public Library. And what a year it's been. I actually feel like I'm kind of finally getting back into a little bit of a routine. And I think just in time for that routine to be completely demolished again. So glad to be here and looking forward to hearing everybody's experiences.
Thank you so much. The next one is Beth with no last name, so sort of like shared, just Beth.
All right. I just filled in the required boxes when I signed up for this webinar.
No worries.
I wasn't sure
You're
how
all
it was
good.
going to show up. I didn't know. This is Beth Hildebrandt. I'm at Booth Library at Eastern Illinois University in Charleston. I think this is the first time I've attended one of these. I've seen them promoted and advertised before, but it just never fit with my schedule. So I'm glad that I'm finally able to sit in on this one today.
Thank you. We're happy that you're here too. Beth Smilak.
I wondered if you were going to, how you were going to pronounce that one. It's Smilak.
Smilak. Okay.
Yes. And I'm with the Jerseyville Public Library, and I am their social media communications marketing guru. And this is my first foray here into your marketing and hoping to learn a lot. So
awesome. Well, welcome.
Going off.
No worries. Where is your library?
We are in Jerseyville, Illinois. So we're about 45 minutes across the river from St. Louis, Missouri, down the south. I guess that would be central.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chad, Morton Grove. I think you're muted, Chad, if you're talking. Okay, we will come back to you, Chad, because I think you're trying to get your stuff, because your video is turned on, but there's no picture yet. But another Chris. Butow. I'm going to stop with last names. Might also have no microphone capability, which is totally fine, but welcome nonetheless. Christy. Oh, I'm sorry. Chris just put it in the chat. South Holland Public Library. I did a good day. It looked good. That's awesome. No mic, no video. Well, cool. Welcome, Chris. Christy Eyre, if you have capabilities.
Okay, hi, yeah, Christy Eyre, Brookfield Public Library. I'm the Partnerships and Public Relations Librarian. I hop in and out throughout the year depending on availability, at least with the marketing stuff. So yeah, we're in the process of building a new library, so I would love to talk to people who have been through that. We're also going to be rebranding with the new library, so lots of fun stuff coming up for me in the next year or so.
Sure sounds like it, yes. Welcome again too. And Chad, I see you, so I think you are with us.
I am, yeah. My computer just booting up from restarting, so sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, Chad Camella, Marketing and Engagement Manager at Morton Grove Public Library. Yeah, just hanging in there. We're starting a youth services renovation. Technically it started, but the bulk of it will start in February. So that's kind of the big thing on the horizon for us.
Nice. Good to see you, Chad.
Yeah, you too.
Courtney from Wheaton.
Hi, I'm Courtney Tedrick. My title is Community Engagement Department Head. So I do a lot of programming here at the Wheaton Public Library. We do have a marketing department, but they're mostly graphic design. I do all of our social media, myself and my colleague. We do social media, and then I also do like communications, like PR, press release kind of stuff.
Awesome, welcome. Evelyn.
Hi, Evelyn Shapiro. I work at Champaign Public Library, so Central Illinois, and I have a design, publishing, marketing background, and we have 1.5 in our promotions department. We do both development work. We also do promoting events and initiatives and website updates and social. I'm sure a lot of you are in similar multi-hat positions. We recently had an event go viral with reaching over 2 million people. It was a history of witchcraft event, so you might have heard about that.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Francisca, names, I'm sorry.
Hi, it's Francisca, or Fran. Most people call me Fran. I'm with River Forest Public Library, and I'm the only marketing person there and the marketing PR specialist. Yep, just adapting to this virtual world. We also just lost our director, so we're in the middle of a director search, so that's been interesting. Add another layer of complication. That's about it.
Yeah, we actually just got a new director. She just celebrated her 1-year anniversary, so last summer I was in your shoes, so I fully understand. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, hiring during a pandemic is kind of tricky, so.
Yeah, that's very true too. Yeah. Well, welcome and thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Freedom.
Good morning. My name is Freedom Nguyen. I'm the head of communications for the Prospect Heights Public Library District. I too am trying to understand our library, and we are rebranding as well. We also have a physical renovation happening with our facilities, so it's an opportunity to kind of rebuild and shift our online presence, and I'm here to learn.
Sweet. Well, welcome. Jennifer. Jennifer King. Oh, okay, so it's in the chat. Jennifer is the Adult Programs and Marketing Coordinator at the Eureka Public Library District. Started in this position in March after working part-time in CERC for 3 years. First day at this position was actually the day that the stay-at-home order went into effect. So it's been interesting, yes. Cool, just hoping to learn and everything from everybody else, which is wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, Jennifer. Yes, starting shortly before or during or at the beginning of the pandemic is tough. But I'm glad that you're here and I'm glad that you stuck through it. Hollis, how's it going?
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Hollis Sinkowitz at the Schaumburg Township District Library. I'm the Marketing and Communications Director here. Just FYI, I might have to cut and run at any moment. We are making some changes to our services starting tomorrow, so I have some prep work and communication to do with that today. So if I bail, it was good to be here. But I did want to mention I've heard about rebranding and renovation and new directors. I've gone through all of those things recently, so I'm happy to connect with anybody offline about any of those things. I'm always happy to talk about that stuff. And I know sometimes a one-on-one phone call or email is a little easier. So please feel free to reach out anytime. I'm also on the ILA Facebook group, so you can tag me there and find me there if you don't have my email. Thanks.
Thank you, Hollis. If you see Jen, please say hi to her for me. Lost my place. Jay Cheng.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello. I'm Jocelyn. Hi,
Jocelyn, okay.
Chang. Oh no, that's fine. Jocelyn Chang. I'm with Loyola University Chicago, and I'm the communication and community relations coordinator there. And it's my first time, so my colleague referred me to this wonderful group, so I'm glad to be part of it, and I'm looking forward to learning more about best practices, and maybe now that more so like I communicate with donors and friends of the libraries, I'd like to hear more about some ideas for that group of our constituents. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Jennifer Davis.
She was also in the chat, Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jennifer Davis of Peoria Public Library. No video or mic. Okay, cool. Friday the 13th computer glitches. Oh, yes. It's nice to meet you too, Jennifer. Thank you so much for being here as well. Jill.
Hey.
Hey, Jill.
I'm Jill Alfred with the Grays Lake Public Library, and my official title is Communications Coordinator, Outreach Coordinator, and Adult Programming Coordinator. So multiple hats, like many of you. I did want to mention 3 quick things. One, as Hollis mentioned, for anybody new, this group is extremely collaborative and very helpful. I have reached out in the past, and don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions because people are very helpful. Secondly, I also will have to leave shortly for an appointment, but wanted to catch what I could, and I'll watch the recording. And then lastly, I do hope, one of the things I think that is helpful with us working from home and using Zoom is if we could contemplate using this technology when and if we are able to meet again in person, because there's times for all of us, distance is too far, don't have time to, to go to the meeting, but to be able to record it but just to continue to use the technology, because I have found it very helpful during this time to attend more things that I have ever had time before, just because of the technology. So thank you for coordinating this, Chris.
Oh, thank you, Jill. Yes, it was a group effort for sure. I want to make sure that everybody knows it was an entire marketing forum board decision to host this and do all this stuff. But I think that you make a good point. I'm really excited to see all of the Central and Southern Illinois folks joining us today. So I think that that's going to be one of the positive things to come out of the pandemic, is sort of this hybrid version of in-person stuff and virtual stuff. And I would imagine that we'll continue doing that moving forward for the forum for any of these kind of similar events too. But thank you, Jill. It's good to see you. Julia.
Hello, everyone. I am Julia Pernicka with Illinois Heartland Library System. I'm the communications coordinator. I work mainly with social media, the newsletters, graphic designs, and anything else anybody wants. I will also say that in addition to Friday the 13th, it is World Kindness Day, just to put a positive spin on things. And I do appreciate the Zoom aspect, because that, that does allow us downstate to be able to participate. And it's nice getting in with a statewide group.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Julia, for being here. Karen.
Hi, everybody. I have the most hated name on the internet now. I literally cringe a little bit when someone calls my name, but that's okay. It's all okay. Hi, I'm Karen McBride. I'm the Public Information Manager with the Barrington Area Library. Like I like many of you, I do many different things, newsletters, website, social media, print design, digital design, all those kinds of things. So there's no point in listing them all. But it's been challenging. I always think of myself as an introvert, but I'm learning that maybe I'm more of an ambivert and I could use some people around sometimes. But I am fortunate that I get to go into the office once in a while, although we're going to slow down on that now. But one of the things that I feel most challenged by too right now is that kind of feeling of being stuck. I think we want to move forward on initiatives like rebranding possibly or some other things, but you sort of feel stuck. Like we really can't plan to or think too far ahead, but you also can't stay in this pattern, right? Or stay in this world, because new normal or not, there'll be another new normal 6 months or a year down the road. So I don't know, that's just something that's been on my mind a lot, but it's great seeing all of you and meeting so many of you for the first time.
Yes, thank you, Karen. That's a really good point too. Katherine Rose.
Hi, everybody. Yes, my name is Katherine. I am officially the social media coordinator at Edwardsville Public Library. So that's also in Southern Illinois, or about 30 minutes from St. Louis. I'm actually not even full-time, and I'm the only person that's doing what I'm doing at my library. So it's kind of fun. I mean, we're not huge. We only have one building, so that makes a difference. But I really understood a lot what Karen was talking about, kind of feeling like you're stuck. I'm actually working from home today too. So that's why my camera's very vertical instead of horizontal. So I apologize for that.
No worries.
So yeah, I'm excited to be here. This is my first time. I didn't actually even know you guys existed until my director forwarded something to me. So hello.
Well, I'm glad that we got you in some way, shape, or form. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Carrie Barnett.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I'm the graphic design associate at Westmont Public Library. I also do the website, and so yeah, I do print and digital. And my colleague Erin, who does a lot of the social media, is not here, but I'm excited to share what I learned with him too.
Sweet, thank you, Carrie. Christy, how's it going?
Hi, I am a former colleague of Chris's, so it's good to see you. I am the marketing manager at Helen Plum Library in Lombard. We are building a new building, supposed to open 2 years from now. So there's a lot going on. So I've, in a way, wish I was feeling a little more stuck like Karen is, because it's stressful working on all of this stuff and moving forward when there is so much up in the air. But that's the big thing that we're working on right now. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, Christy. Lisa. Might have the same issue. Lisa, if you're around, just drop something in the chat and I'll be happy to read it for you. Oh, here it is. Okay. Lisa Martin from the Westchester Public Library. Title is Teen Librarian and Marketing Specialist. I'm the only marketing person. This is my first year in marketing, and this is the first marketing position Westchester's ever had. Well, congratulations on pioneering that road. That's an interesting one to pioneer. We'll put it that way. I was part-time adult services for a year, ended up doing a lot of graphic design stuff because I knew the software, got moved into full-time in July. Do a lot of graphic design, video editing, social media strategy, and work on the newsletter. Since this is such a new thing for my library, I'm trying to build a really solid foundation, marketing plan, brand Bible, etc. And she's at the desk, which is why we're getting the chat, which is totally fine, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here. I can think of myself and a bunch of other people who have been in your shoes with sort of like either reorganizing a department or starting one from scratch. And so you're in the right place for support and for building all of that up. So looking forward to working with you in the future for sure. And welcome. Megan Freeman.
Hi, I'm Megan. I am the community engagement librarian at the Chatham Area Public Library, which is another library that's downstate, central Illinois, just right outside of Springfield. I've been in this position for a year, so about halfway in, the pandemic hit. And I am essentially a one-person show doing marketing, social media, et cetera, and then also various other buckets of things. So what I'm trying to figure out is the communications between departments. And I would also like to put together a marketing and promotions team. I'm not sure how to go about doing that. I don't have a background in marketing. I don't have a background in communications. This is my first time being at the forum, and I'm really excited to learn from all of you. So thank you for having this.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Yeah, that can be tough, that internal kind of communication stuff, mastering all of that. I feel like it's always an evolving thing, but there's definitely some places to start. So you're definitely in the right place too. Melissa from Fountaindale.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Bradley, the communications manager at Fountaindale Public Library in Bolingbrook. I am home today, so you may hear my children screaming in the background. Just ignore it. I've been on the ILA Marketing Forum board for 4 or 5 years now, so I'm definitely connected on the Facebook group and via email and everything. So if you ever have any questions or need anything, feel free to reach out. My department handles everything from print, digital, social media, out of home marketing, all that. So if you have any questions, I'm always happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. It's good to see you. Michelle. Oh, I'm sorry, it's right here. No market video, since I'm also at the desk, no worries. Michelle is from the Blue Island Library, new to the youth services. She's the new youth services librarian. Her director recommended that she come and check this out since she's working on promoting programs at the library, and she's just here to learn more. Well, welcome, Michelle. We're happy that you're here. Mick.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I'm Mickey Smith with TBS. So a unique approach here. We've partnered with many of you, but I thought this would be a great thing for me to learn about what you guys are looking for and how maybe we can help you to develop more marketing material for outreach and see what other great things we're doing for all of our library partners. So thanks for letting me be a part of it and learning from you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mick. I think I will be the first one to speak for many of us and saying thank you for taking the time out of your day to kind of hear some of our needs and wants and desires for communications with our vendors. So thank you so much for being here. Rhiannon, I believe, said that she's on without microphone. Yes. Okay. Okay, but here's something cool. Rhiannon is the assistant head of circulation at River Grove Public Library. Also manages the library's website, marketing and promotions, including posters, flyers, digital sites, etc., graphic design, and most of everything in between. This is the first time here, so welcome. Sorry for the lack of camera and microphone, don't even worry about it. Yeah, no worries, but we're happy that you're here. Rhonda.
Hi, I'm the marketing manager at Bloomington Public Library, where it is myself and a graphic designer. Some things we have on the horizon are we're going to be doing some fundraising, which we've never done before, which makes me nervous. And then we are also getting a new website with Library Market. We started using their calendar and their room reservation system a couple months ago. We love it. So we're going to have them do our entire website. I believe they're going to start in January, and then that's going to come to the marketing department too, where it hasn't been before, although we've had a lot of input, and I think it kind of belongs there. And that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and for sharing that. Ryan.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan. I represent the Midlothian Public Library, which is a small library in the suburbs of Chicago. I am new to ILA as well as libraries in general. More of my background was business and marketing, and I was in the cruise ship industry for quite a while before that kind of took a dump because of the pandemic. So yeah, it's just myself. I'm a part-timer, and then my manager is like marketing manager / IT manager. So we're doing a lot of great things at our library, taking kind of get more innovative. I'm here kind of today to learn about maybe some free tools that are working for you guys, innovations that you had success with, and particularly want to learn how you're reaching out to different demographics in this pandemic, kids, teens, adults, and what's working for you.
Sweet.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much and welcome to your first meeting as well. I think I missed Nancy McKay. I apologize if I did, but Nancy, if you'd like to go.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I am the head of teen services at the Byron Library, and I handle all the social media for my library. I do some of my own graphics. I do my own newsletter, although I do have a part-time staff member who assists with the graphics. So this, I'm new to this committee, and so I just wanted to find out and, learn more, because the Byron nuclear plant might be closing in our area next year. And so that's going to be a huge thing for our community. And I might need to be part of the marketing, in on that, although it would be community, it wouldn't just be the library, but the library would certainly be an aspect of it. So I just want to know more about how to properly market to our patrons in our community.
Sweet. Well, welcome. Yeah, I remember hearing about that nuclear plant. That's going to be tough for the community, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, it will.
Yeah.
Hoping for the best, preparing
yeah,
for the worst.
On all sides, yeah, definitely. Sarah.
Hi, everybody. From the Zion Benton Public Library, I'm the administrative assistant, but I help out a lot with our social media, website, and newsletters. And I'm just kind of here to learn and borrow some ideas from everybody, see what's worked. We're also in the middle of a director search, and we actually had the nuclear power plant by us closed by, so we've been through that. So good luck to you. And it's nice to meet everybody.
It's nice to meet you too. Thank you for being here. Seth, I guess we can hear from you.
Hi, my name is Seth. I am from the Lincolnwood Library. I work underneath you, Chris. I am I am a content manager for the Lincolnwood Public Library, and yeah, I'm just here to listen to what everybody else has got to say. I'm curious to see what the libraries are doing.
Thanks, Seth. Stephen Ford, also from Fountaindale, I believe. Stephen says, no microphone right now. Join the wrong computer. No worries, Stephen. Stephen Ford is the Digital Communications Administrator at Fountaindale and Bolingbrook. We do know your boss now, Melissa Bradley. Stephen handles most of our website stuff, digital platforms like the event calendar and our blog. And he's been to a few of these things before. Stephen, welcome. Thank you for being here. And I believe I missed Jennifer Schmidt. Jennifer, if you're around, I apologize.
Oh, no worries. Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name's Jen Schmidt. I'm at Indian Trails Public Library. I've been there for about a year, a little over a year. And I do everything in the communications department. There are 3 people on our team. And this is my first interaction with your organization. So I am anxious to hear about what people are doing with social media right now, because I've seen like a major drop off in our engagement, especially since the election. I mean, I watch it like a hawk. So, I don't want to say like the sky is falling, but I'm just interested in finding out how other people, in our group are coping with that, and how to generate some content that doesn't seem repetitive. I'm excited to hear what everyone has to say. Thanks for having, this meeting.
Thank you, Jen. And welcome. I thought that there was somebody who called in, but they just dropped off, so I will not acknowledge them any further. But I know that took up over just about half of the meeting, and so I apologize for that, but I think that was really important. 1, because we have so many new faces, and 2, it's just nice to be able to connect and welcome everybody to the group, really to the family more so than the group. You know, and it's always kind of a powerful feeling when we do some of these things, because like this is really the definition of a hive mind, and really the best of library marketing across the state, if not across the country, is in this meeting right now. So I think we can all give ourselves a pat on the back for that. But taking some notes that I did during everybody's talking, it sounds like there's a lot of rebranding, a lot of rebuilding, a lot of opportunity to sort of reinvent ourselves. There's a little bit of a feeling of being stuck in the current moment, just because we really don't know what the next week or month, or even quite frankly, the next couple of days are going to look like for us. So it's hard to prepare and plan for the future. And I think for me too, sort of along the same lines, it's hard to move forward because there's all these little pop-up things that keep happening that take away from the big grand projects. At least that's what I'm finding too. There's a little bit of a desire to talk about internal communications, which is just as important as external communications are, I believe. A little bit of talk about social media. There's a ton of new people joining us today, which is wonderful. And I mean new to the group, but also new to their positions. And it sounds like even there's new positions for those people too. And so crafting those and navigating those waters, we can all help each other in that too. Yeah, so I guess if there's any, you know, the meeting is supposed to go till 11:30, so I want to be mindful of everybody's time. That gives us about 20 minutes to have a little bit of a conversation. Tamara, I'm not entirely sure if there's any meeting after this. I'm certainly free to stay until noon or so if anybody wants to stick around on this platform. Otherwise, we do have plans to do these in the future, of course. I think the next one I can safely announce is December 4th, Friday, December 4th at 11 a.m., I believe. So throw that on your calendars now, but there'll definitely be reminders for that moving forward. But does anybody want to get the ball rolling with a specific question or with a specific ask for the group? Feel free to raise your hand, throw it in the chat, or just jump into the conversation.
Or if you don't have a specific ask, Chris, another thing might be, do you have something during these last 8 months that's worked extraordinarily well for you that you'd like to share with the group? Because sometimes, you know, that's a great way for us to break out of our own thinking. If we can hear, you know, from any type of library, what's been working, what's been your go-to for this period of time? Or
Yeah,
something
thank
that
you.
surprised you, right?
Sure. Anything that's surprising that worked, anything like that over the last 8 months now? Thank you, Karen. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah, I'll start with something that's worked really well. This would go out to anyone that has a teen services librarian. So we recently joined a popular app called Discord to reach our teenage market, as we found they weren't really interacting on Facebook, had a little bit more interest in Instagram, but we really feel like we needed to connect better with our teenagers. And Discord is mostly used as a gaming app to chat, very similar like how we're chatting through Zoom. This is a platform that teens seem to gravitate towards. Yeah, and we have a huge turnouts, huge community for, of course, mostly it's gaming. We have like a chess club and all that. That's very well attended. And then we transferred that into asking them if they would be teen tutors. So now we have that running. So while we gave them a platform to talk and interact amongst themselves, it was really great. And then we were able to transfer and kind of coax them into saying, will you offer your time to be a teen tutor? So that platform, if you have not used it, I would definitely look into it if you're looking to reach your teenage community.
There was actually a question in the chat from Freedom asking a little bit about what Discord actually is. I'll do my best to summarize it, but if I leave any gaps, please feel free to fill them in. It's basically sort of what Ryan said. It's a chat and a way to kind of bring people together, mainly over gaming. You know, so people will be doing like, I don't know, whatever the kids do now these days with their gaming systems where it's all online and Reba's got these headsets and stuff, sort of like how Dan looks right now with the microphone and stuff. And Discord is sort of the platform, sort of like Zoom, kind of like what Ryan said, that just brings people together so that if you're playing a game with your friends or with opponents, you have a way to communicate with them, either via chat or via video and sound. Does that answer or clarify that, Freedom? or for anybody else who may not know what Discord is.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Chris.
For sure. Beth had a question for you, Ryan. Do you set up a Discord meeting or do you have to be playing a game at the time?
Yeah, so we just set up a Discord meeting, very similar to how we did today. Like next week we have team game night. And what really in essence is it's a bunch of people coming together and then they'll sit and talk and be like, hey guys, what game do you want to play together? There's a lot of interactive free games online, such as like Board Game Arena is one they seem to gravitate towards. It's literally a website full of board games, and then they all just log on with their regular email addresses and they're able to interact and play and build, builds community and stuff like that. And it just gives them an outlet to talk and chat with each other. I think that answers the question.
What was the board game called again?
Oh, yeah,
Ryan?
yeah. So boardgamearena.com.
Boardgamearena.com. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then, if you want to transfer in someone wants like the host, Super Smash Brothers seems to be really popular with the young crowd. So they used to hold tournaments in the library, but obviously we're not doing that. So now it's transferred virtually. So yeah, just trying to get a little bit creative and still provide all the regular services just in a different, arena virtually, right? Everything's virtual.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fascinating because I had never thought about kind of diving into the Discord market before. TikTok for sure, which is intimidating for several reasons, but not necessarily Discord. But that's a fantastic idea. So thank you for sharing that. There's a couple questions in the chat about social media scheduling and stuff. I'm going to hold off on answering those unless anybody wants to do those in the chat, of course. But let's get through just a little bit more positive stuff about the last 8 months before we dive into some logistical questions in a few moments. Does anybody else have anything to share that's been working or anything like that?
Sarah had shared something about a staff e-news in the chat earlier. And internal communication, she shares an internal e-news on occasion. You can take it from there, Chris. But
yeah, so Sarah, thank you for putting that out there. She does internal e-news on occasion, and there's a lot to share, of course. She's planning on doing one for open enrollment and have done some good anniversaries and staff intros. I think that's nice. I think having the little personal and human touches in there, like the intros and welcoming new people, I think that makes it impactful and makes people then more available to read the actual like news part of all of that stuff. But I think that having that human appeal in there is a great thing to think about when you're doing internal communications.
could I ask Sarah or any of you who do that, like how are you collecting content for that? Do you have a shared folder where people are contributing their own articles, or are you gathering all that up, or are they emailing you? I'd love to know. I know our boss would really like us to move to some kind of an employee e-news.
We have a staff intranet kind of a thing over here. And so people just kind of dump information on there, but we kind of do a weekly update after our management team meetings. That's sort of just like a weekly dissemination of information. It's a must read post, but I got to say that there's probably about, I don't know, maybe a third of people who actually must read it or do the must read, I should say.
What platform do you use for your staff intranet that so many people are able to contribute to it?
We use it's a service called Mango Apps. We're actually going to be moving away from it, I believe, because we're going to be transitioning from Microsoft stuff to, this isn't a Microsoft product, but we're going to be switching from Microsoft stuff to Google stuff. And so we're going to basically just copy and paste everything that's in this Mango Apps thing and just dump it into a Google platform of some sort.
Karen, if I could answer your question. I just kind of like ear to the ground, things that people mentioned to me in a light conversation. And I was like, can I use that? And sometimes I'll do an email and I'll say, I'm putting together this e-news for staff. Is there anything you would like to share from your job or your personal life that you would like everybody to know? And then peppered in with the important stuff. So yeah, the human touch has helped a lot. And I use the same platform for our public e-news, which we use Constant Contact. And so I have just a staff list, and that makes it a lot easier to do as well.
Thank you.
I wanted to bring up that I really encouraged my director to record a video. She's done 2 so far. One was when we closed and then we were reopening. And so we filmed it professionally, and then she was able to share a link in her, hey, we're headed back into the library. This is how we're going to meet our customers, and this is where we're going forward. It was a real pep talk, and it was very positive and unifying, because we can't get 100 of us in a room, obviously. And just this past week, we had Staff Appreciation Week, and she recorded another video, and she did her usual where she shouts out for each department something that they're doing well, and everyone hears it. And I think she got, it was very heartfelt, and people that came across on video. So we don't do the newsletter you're talking about, but we have been finding video has been effective for communicating with staff.
That's an interesting perspective. I hadn't thought about doing recorded videos for that purpose, but that makes sense. We do bi-weekly all staff meetings now before we open on Thursdays. And that's been super helpful. We record those, but I don't think people go back and watch the recording. But I kind of like that, where you record a message from the director for staff. It's a good idea.
I'd like to piggyback off of that and say that we've done a number of director short videos for staff, directed at staff and to our member base, and we get a lot of views on that. It's been very successful for us.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Jump in if you don't mind.
Yeah.
This is Beth at Booth Library, and we are an academic library, but I had a couple of suggestions on internal communications that someone asked about that I think could be adapted for public libraries too. We are a small staff. We only have about 30 of us, which is probably bigger and smaller depending for those who are on the call. But a few things that we have done, we actually have remained open, and we are still open. But many of our employees are working remotely. So, and we have a day staff and a night staff. It was always hard to keep the lines of communication open, even pre-COVID. But a few things, we have regular staff meetings, either with just the librarians or all staff. And our director, the dean, has invited a couple of times people to speak to us, that people, for example, the person in charge of the health services on campus just telling us what COVID safety protocols are being handled on campus, and what the library should and should not do, and the police department on what do we do if we can't get people to put the mask on when they're library, giving us a chance to talk to these people directly. So perhaps, depending on your community, this is a terrible time with rising COVID rates to get your local health department to speak to your staff. But if things ever calm back down, they may be willing to do that. And it just gave our staff a chance to ask questions, and it made them feel better. Those of us, especially who are actually in the library working and how to handle with all of these things. And then a couple just fun things that we've done is our dean, every once in a while, will have a virtual coffee hour, and anybody who wants to come, can join in on the call. We don't talk about work. We just, talk about how is it going, and how are your kids who are learning from home, and people show off their pets, and it's just a way to communicate. And finally, when the pandemic first started, one of our librarians for I don't know, maybe a couple of months, every so often would just post a fun question either on Microsoft Teams or by email. You could respond just to get us all talking to each other, and it would be something weird like, if you were on death row, what would your last meal be? Or, something like that. And we would all just chime in. And we just, honestly, I feel like I got to know some of my coworkers better than perhaps if we had all been here in person, because you just don't walk up to somebody and ask them a question like that. And it brought up some unique answers that led to conversations, that just led to us getting to know each other a little bit better. So it wasn't something that took a lot of time. Somebody just posted a question, and whenever anybody felt like it, they would chime in and answer. So just a few thoughts.
Thank you for sharing that. Does anybody else have any fun stuff that they'd like to share?
I wanted to share something that worked really well with our teens, which was we used to do Tuesday after school makers. And we made those, I'm sure a lot of you have done this, it's probably nothing new, but we made them like pick up like kits so the kids could register and then pick up the kits. And then they met virtually to do them, and they've had great attendance. And our teen librarian also likes it because there's no cleanup.
Nice.
We also did a fall trivia and we used Kahoot and it was really, really successful. And again, we had, I think we did like gift card. We used to do pizza, but we had like gift cards for a local pizza place. They could grab pizza and everyone got together and did the trivia. So yeah, those were really successful.
Nice. I do want to acknowledge the questions that are happening in the chat. I think I hope I didn't miss anything, but I know the first one was how are people scheduling social media posts, especially if there's more than one contributor to those social media platforms. We are using later.com here at the library. Ideally, the way that it works is there's only one user for it. If you want to have multiple accounts or multiple contributors to it, it gets really expensive really quickly. So what we do is we just have one standard login for it. And again, ideally, the way that it would work is people are contributing photos and content to that. And then from there, it's up to the marketing department, primarily Seth, to sort of press the go button on that after it's been edited, after it's been, kind of reined in a little bit and made more appropriate for social media. So that's kind of the way that we get around having multiple users. And it seems to be working for us. Otherwise, people just send content via email or other places, and then we are the ultimate gatekeepers of that. And it seems like it's been working pretty well, but it'd be lovely to hear from other people as far as what their perspectives are.
We use Buffer, and I've been pretty happy with that. It has a nonprofit discount, which I'm sure most of these places do if you look into it. I also wanted to mention, because this came up in the Facebook group not that long ago, that we use Linktree for Instagram to share our URLs, and that has a nonprofit discount. That I think that it's free. I can't remember about for sure, but make sure you look into that, because if you provide your all your paperwork, there's definitely discounts for some of this. I know that not everybody has budgets for everything. So, but Buffer we've been really happy with Buffer.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning Linktree too, because I think that's should be on everybody's Instagram page. If you're not using it, totally look into that. We do pay for the analytics or insights portion of that, and it's interesting. It's helpful to see what people are clicking on and where they're going, and how frequently they're doing that too. Anything else with social media stuff? Jill also asked if there's any sort of like long range planning that anybody's doing for social media, whether it's a year-long calendar or something like that. I don't think that we're scheduling social media too terribly far in advance. There is that one book that you can buy for like $100 every year that's sort of like the most important dates or the holidays or whatever. So that would be certainly a benefit. I don't remember what it's called, but I know that it does exist.
Is it Chase's Book of Days or something like that?
Yeah, Chase's Book of something, yes.
Put my librarian hat on for a minute. Now I can take the librarian hat off again.
Thank you, Karen. But yeah, it's definitely Chase's calendar something. I would recommend, like, I don't know, if you buy last year's copy, it's not like these dates are really changing that much year to year. So, and I know that the year before or the 2 years before prices, they go down really quickly. But that's been beneficial for us to see, like, if we have a hole in social media, we can go to there and find like a random fact or a random person from history, or it's always like National Hot Dog Day, or it seems like there's a National Cat Day every month. So those days are also in there too, which is helpful for fun content. And yeah, all of that information is probably online for free too. Yes, thank you, Karen.
There was that question about, is everyone's social media tapered, or I assume that maybe means filtered through the communications and marketing department. I mean, I'm the one who does it. So in my case, it's filtered, they're tapered through me. So, but others have bigger departments and can speak to that.
Yes, it is filtered for sure. Well, I would say 99%, 98%. Seth, you can kind of back me up on that or challenge me on that if you want. But I think it's mostly censored, or mostly censored's not the right word, mostly filtered through the marketing department before it goes out there. And I think that that's really important because if you think about, you know, the public is seeing one message from one institution, and it can be confusing or off-putting if it sounds different from, you know, one day to the next. And so if you have that one little filter that it all kind of trickles down through, that way you're sending out a consistent message with consistent wording and consistent imagery. And I think that that's important.
Jessica, I was wondering to clarify the question. It's there seems to be multiple accounts, and there was an absence in my position for a very long time. Both staff have, you know, posted things which, you know, the director has trusted to be related to programs and things like that. And then there's also multiple accounts that are started, let's say, like by youth programs or by the teen program or something like that too. So I guess, like, is there a best policy that you all have kind of adapted in terms of like messaging and sorting and and kind of the workflow? I don't know what I should, where I should start, I guess, in terms of like how to consolidating and making sure a message is appropriate for the library.
I have really strong feelings about multiple accounts for one library. Anybody who's heard me talk before knows my feelings on that. I would say, man, in the most diplomatic way possible, to shut that stuff down and try to transition everything over into one platform for one institution. And meaning, like, you know, one Facebook page, one Instagram page, one Twitter page, but not like not a teens thing, not a, well, I guess there could be an argument there for teens maybe, but not like a department gets one or a department gets another. And it's really, if it's all under one umbrella, that's the way to do it. And then to find the platform that people are on to reach them more specifically, like the example with Discord, you know, that has a very specific audience that you're trying to reach on there. Facebook also has a very specific one. There's really not a need to have a Facebook teens page because guess what? Teens aren't on Facebook that much anymore. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on Discord. And so shut that stuff down and try to reconvene those messages into one platform. The sort of the best way to do that, or maybe the most, like, you know, hey, we're going to shut all these things down, we're going to transition into one thing, but I'd still love to get your opinions. Let's form a social media or a content creation committee or something like that to kind of have a little bit of a collaboration and sort of constructing the direction of social media for your institution, for your library, and kind of take that to opportunity to set some guidelines and to set a real purpose for your different platforms. And I think that that's probably the best way that you're going to get buy-in from anybody's page who you may be shutting down. And I don't even want to say you have to spin your message to make it sound good, because best practices like this it's kind of a no-brainer from the marketing perspective to kind of clarify your message into one platform. And I think people will understand that, but I think bringing them into the equation in some sort of a committee or something is probably the best way to go.
I have a question in regards to maybe what everyone's doing as far as perhaps a marketing orientation to staff that maybe just don't think marketing naturally in their heads. If you guys are, maybe you conduct maybe a monthly meeting or a quarterly meeting, especially nowadays where you can't interact with one-on-one. Let me give you an example of what I'm trying to get at is, like, we had a program that was full. It was a takeaway craft program. And I had set up promotions to make sure you sign up, make sure you sign up. And then I find out that's all full and I'm still promoting something that's full. And I'm just like, ugh, I feel so unprofessional, but no one had communicated to me that the program was full. And I want to make sure stuff like that doesn't happen. And perhaps another example being, you posted a story time, but you used no hashtags whatsoever. You didn't tag anything. And it's just, you know, you could have made that video more marketable. and reached a higher audience if you use these little tricks. But they're just not aware of that. So do you have something that you consistently do with your staff? And if you can answer in the chat or on video.
And before we dive into answers with that, because I'm kind of curious about that myself, it is 11:30. So if you need to leave, please feel free to. We do have the capability to keep this going until noon or so. So we'll keep going, but if you do need to leave, please feel free to. You will not be offending anybody, of course.
Ryan, I think that's a great question. And I really, the best thing has been being really the most enthusiastic person when someone shares their success with me. Like I can become maybe the favorite person to say first, hey, the event's full, you know, and I can get excited with them and find a new way to still spin it or talk about it or a way to extend it, you know, help them brainstorm a way to extend it. So I don't have a tried and true method, although I do a lot of asking. I keep it on my radar. And like I recently had, we had a short story contest and no one thought to tell me how many entries did we really get. And yeah, so I reached out and asked. So I mean, it depends on the volume of what you're doing, but sometimes I have to source that myself. And, you know, once you've had an example like you had, you'll probably think of that next time. It's like, well, certain series do fill up. And so I only promote them in a way of like, here's what's happening next month. I don't even talk about this month. So I don't run into that problem.
Thank you, Evelyn. Lisa says in the chat, and thank you everybody who's leaving, and I believe that there will be a recording of this. We are recording it for sure. Tamara will be the one to disseminate that to the group. But Lisa says, again, super basic, but I made a file on our shared drive with the website's colors in it and instructions on how to use Adobe Color online to make it easier for people to make graphics that don't clash with our color scheme. In parentheses, they are slowly getting used to it. One thing that we created,
oh,
go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are you
Karen.
sure? One of the things our director, who's still fairly new, he's been here about 2.5 years, asked me to update the brand guide. We had done a redesign almost 10 years ago now, and a lot of it was really out of date at this point. So I did write a whole new brand guide. And then I asked if I could go to the different department meetings and introduce it so that it wasn't just this boring document on the staff intranet, but they, you know, kind of be able to give people examples and help them feel a little bit empowered by it rather than feeling like this was a bunch of rules that we were just sending down from on high. Some departments were really receptive and they had a lot of great questions. They seemed really intrigued. A couple of them, it was like they just shut down. I don't really know. As you can tell, I'm like a really intimidating, scary person when I talk to groups. So I don't feel like
Karen, so
that's true. That's true.
Only teasing because you mentioned it.
So I don't know quite what was happening there. And now, of course, they all got canceled. I had 2 more to do and they got canceled because of the virus and the stay at home. So I'm going to continue to just work on that so people just understand, you know, when I say like, don't tape something to the wall, it's not because you really need to be told that. It's just, it's part of the brand. It's part of our aesthetic, and help them see that it's useful information, not restrictive.
We have Niche Academy at our library, both internal and external for patrons. And that is something that's sort of on my list to do, is an orientation for, it would be for existing staff to start with, but for new staff. And you can do like little quizzes and things. And I thought that might be a good way to have sort of a playful, hopefully not very academic, boring, but I think we could probably come up with some questions that could get through some of that stuff that we want to communicate and kind of reinforce it. But that was my thinking for our approach to it. But I think you could do that with a survey or something too, if you wanted to do it outside of Niche Academy.
We've been using PowerPoint as a way to give people templates for stuff. I don't remember how we landed on PowerPoint as a viable option for that, but it actually makes it kind of easy for folks. Like if we just give them a template, like for, we have these little booklets or guides for our online resources. They're available on our website if you want to check them out, but those all come from a template that we created in the marketing department and then gave to the librarians to fill in with all of the instructions and stuff. And it made it super simple because we could control the colors, we could control everything from font sizes and everything else by giving them, the heading option, the body options, really putting all of the right pieces into play and then letting them fill in the information. And that made it super simple for us. And you could transition that into flyers or posters or anything else if you have other folks in the library making that kind of stuff, just to keep a little bit of control as we've been talking about over it, but to make it as accessible or easy for people to edit as possible.
Adobe Spark is another thing that's very similar to what Chris is talking about with PowerPoint. You get these kind of standard sizes, but you can put all your brand information in there and your fonts. And so I don't use it yet with other staff. I actually use it for myself so that I don't waste a lot of time, like trying to, oh, let's make a new slide. I want to punch that out in 2 minutes. I don't want to be like open a program, what's the size? It's got a lot of things preset for you and some nice effects and things that you can use. But I hadn't really thought about opening it up to other people, and that might be a great idea.
Is Adobe Spark, is that free or is that something you have to pay for?
No, it's free. I think you might get extended features if you're already an Adobe user, but a lot of it is free. It's a tool that a lot of schools use.
That's cool. Because yeah, we just got library aware. And so I've been asked to make some like templates for people to make like book lists and things like that. And my frustration with that is the design tool in it is awful. It's like, coming from like, Adobe, like Illustrator or something, it's just really hard to work with, but it is easy for staff then if they need to like plug in, book covers or something. That's super easy. It's just like really difficult on my end. So I'm going to look into Adobe Spark. Thank you.
I feel like a library aware is a great, powerful thing, but it's sort of like how we all view Microsoft Publisher. It's just kind of like, it's so much capability, but it's just kind of clunky. I feel like the chat's getting away from me just a little bit, but I do want to mention a couple of things that I saw. Dan, thank you for mentioning the My Library Is as a resource, not only for marketing plans and brand guidelines, but also for a myriad of stuff. So if you're unfamiliar with that, Dan did put a link in the chat. But it is, you can find it on Rails. Otherwise, the URL is mylibraryis.org. Tamara says the roundtable is being recorded and it will be posted on the ILA marketing forum page on the on the ILA website by Monday. So after Monday, go to ILA.org, navigate over to the marketing forum page, and the link will be there for the video. Fran says also currently working on updating our style guide and developing a language style guide too. Was noticing that many inconsistencies and even basic things. Yeah. Plan to share with all staff either in Zoom or via email when it's completed. Canva is a great tool and we started using that. And you can set up your brand kit there. Yeah. Thank you, Fran. Rogue posters. Oh my gosh, who doesn't have a problem with rogue posters in their library?
Well, I will say we're really lucky in that we actually have two graphic designers. One is the kind of the lead one, and so everything filters through them, and it's I feel like it's a cheat code for me because I don't have to worry about rogue posters or bad fonts or color schemes. Like they're all on top of it. The challenge is getting staff to use the marketing request form that we've set up in the last about 6 months or so. Just because it was a new procedure, but just getting staff to submit the information in order for us to make these things. That's been the uphill battle. People they're catching on, but yeah, but it is very nice to not have to worry about the other stuff that many other libraries have to struggle with.
Actually, I just want to kind of reiterate what Chad was saying too, and I've heard of other libraries doing this they have like a submission form for other departments to filter their information to the communications team and marketing, and it is really tough getting people to use that because otherwise they'll just email you and be like, oh, can this be a flyer? And but you just have to kind of be relentlessly upbeat and positive about it, like we all can be because we're marketing people, and give gentle sort of pushes to be like, well, you could use this, this is a great way, this is a great tool for you. So
There's also the negative reinforcement aspect where if they don't send something, they say, sorry, you didn't send it. Tough luck. You got to do this next time.
That is the nuclear option. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of times with ours, I try to say, hey, this looks great. Would you mind dropping it into M Factor for me? And what I'll often tell them is that if it's not in there, we often lose track of projects, or you might get bounced down on the schedule of where this is in the queue. And so that's, that's kind of halfway between the super positive sunny side and the nuclear option. If you really want me to prioritize your project, you'll get it into that form.
I think that's the first time I've ever described marketing to be either like the one side of the spectrum is sunny and everything else, and the other side is nuclear explosions. That's
the second time nuclear has come up in this meeting. So
I know. What does that say about us?
I don't
know. One thing that we're kind of running into over here, rather than, I guess it's probably just a product of the times, is more of a filtering of social media content and social media suggestions and requests, because we get stuff that's often great, the meaning is great or the impact is potential, but the way that it's presented is either way too long or just not really right for our social media pages. And so kind of filtering through those and having that little delicate balance of, well, this isn't right over here, maybe over here, or this just isn't right at all, is a challenge that we're kind of running into too.
Yeah, there's someone was asking about like having a social media like advisory team in their library, and I really like that idea, and I think that's a really good way to sort of to mitigate that problem a little bit, is to create a people, and it can just be a group of people that are interested in social media, like just send out an email to your like internal communication channels and say like, hey, do you like Facebook, Instagram, whatever, is this something that you enjoy doing in your free time? Would you be willing to meet once a month to talk about social media and kind of the direction? And I feel like that sometimes like that stems the like, can you post this for me on Facebook, like as it is problem a little bit, just because then you get people that are like involved but without being overly controlling sort of.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And it also kind of ties into finding out some personal information that's not too personal about people, really playing into people's strengths on staff. We asked that question for people who wanted to join our content creation committee. And I didn't realize it, but we have somebody on staff who has a past life of writing all these grants and writing all these proposals and really this rich writing history. And we wouldn't have known that if we didn't ask. What are your strengths? Would you like to join social media? And so that's a nice way to, if you're developing more than one committee for your library, or if you just want to get to know people, gosh, it was a while ago, but we had somebody on staff. I think it was when I was in Lombard. Christy, you may know. We had somebody who was a Macy's or Marshall Field's window decorating person. And so that strength could potentially play into putting up a book display or something like that, but you don't know unless you ask. And every staff, regardless of the size, has hidden gems like that. And it's really just utilizing those and asking people to contribute those skills to their workplace.
Chris, I'm fascinated that you have do you call it a content creation? Is that what you call it? A team? Yeah. I think you're I don't know that I've ever heard of a library having like, or at least naming it content creation, or kind of like that's like the terminology that you use. I think that's so much more associated with the for-profit kind of sphere and things like that.
Yeah, I'll, Seth, if you want to jump in and for the conversation too, it's sort of in the, so Seth is of the vein of, okay, Seth was hired at the end of February and then we went into lockdown in March. So he's of, I don't want to speak too much for you, Seth, but that's a crappy situation to be in all around. And so the content creation committee is one of those things that's on his plate. And so it's sort of in the reworking phase a little bit because we had it before with the previous person, but we're sort of reworking it and retweaking it and stuff. But Seth, if you want to jump in and talk a little bit about that, that'd be great.
Sure. So like Chris said, I joined this library right before the pandemic started. So for me, this has always been the normal. So I didn't really have any adapting to do. So there's good and bad that came with that. And part of the good has been trying to put this committee together. I guess previously, my predecessor had met with department heads or whoever was running programs to kind of go over what was expected, just to make sure everybody was on the same page as to what we were doing. So going forward, when everybody had to do everything online, originally it was like, we're just doing programs that we've always done, but we're trying to find a digital way to do them. And then this committee, it's kind of tried to adapt those to not only make them more feasible, but to see if those programs made sense, and then to see how we could add to them any added benefits. So a lot of the information I've gotten, to you guys' credit, we've gotten a lot of people that have skills that we didn't realize that they had. Sometimes they have input that, or they have even critiques over for better or worse, things that we've done. Like a lot of these meetings, I start by asking, what do you think the positives or negatives are of the social we're already doing? And seeing the huge slew of different responses I get from just that question is really surprising, because sometimes they're just like easily digestible chunks, anything that's scripted content. Some people want to see how our digital resources are being used. So seeing the whole different gamut I think has been really helpful. But I don't claim to be an expert at all in the library side of things, is certainly not now. So I try to pride myself in having that bedside manner. Again, this is something that we were talking about earlier, like marketing can either be this temperamental, fickle side, or it can be, we're just here to accommodate everybody else in the library. So however we can do that, we're here to help. So I try to be open to everything that comes up. I try not to shoot down any idea, and if I don't think an idea that they bring up is going to work, then I try to get at whatever it is that they're getting at in that idea.
Does that answer your question, Dan? A little bit more about sort of what that is? Cool. Yeah, it's a fun committee. Like it's, sometimes committees can be boring or lame or weird, but this one's not, so that's good. But yeah, I think somebody mentioned repetitiveness on social media, and there's a good side to repetitiveness and there's a bad side to repetitiveness. I guess consistency is the good part of the repetitiveness. So a couple successes that we've had with social media is our Book Face Friday, which is a couple years old now, but it's one of the things that we do every week, and it's one of the things that people really look for on our page, primarily on Instagram. And then Seth actually has been working with our historical collection librarian to dig up some old photos and stuff. And so taking old photos and showing those online are usually pretty cool. But when you're able to take an old photo of like a street corner or something and hold it up where the street corner is right now and sort of give that duality perspective, like it just adds an extra dimension to it. It takes that little Throwback Thursday kind of feeling really to the next level.
Yeah, we've had really good luck with posting historical photos of our life, because we have a really old library, and across the street is like the museum that was the original library from like the 1800s. So we've had really great luck with those too. So for Book Face though, we kind of had a problem with like the time it takes to find a book that I'm just curious, do you have any tips or tricks on quickly finding a good book to use on Bookface Friday?
Seth, if you want to answer that in a moment, but I think one of the things that we do is we just have this blanket call out for books. And so sometimes what we'll do is when people are checking in books, they'll say, oh, this would be a good one for Bookface Friday. Let me put it off to the side. Or, there's been times where books have just shown up on my desk and I'm like, this has a face on it, so I assume it's for that. But there's also a lot of happy accidents where you're walking through a lobby and there's a book that just looks perfect, whether it's for a face or for a landscape, or, you have to kind of think about these things a little creatively too, and kind of allow yourself to not just focus on like the human face kind of a perspective of it, but we've had a lot of success with landscape type things, or things that incorporate animals, or anything like that, sort of stepping away from the face part of it, but more so for that. But Seth, I don't know if there's anything I left out about sort of your process, but
Yeah, I've like Chris said, when we have an open call for things like this, you start noticing them everywhere if you're looking for book faces on a regular basis, and all of a sudden you're walking by in a supermarket or something and you're like, wow, this would be awesome for a book face. So you just kind of either snap a photo or you just make a note of what it was. So I get a lot of books on my desk for it too, but a good fallback is like landscaping, anything with roads or train tracks, or biographies are great a lot of the time. Or if push comes to shove, you can always search for what other libraries are doing and try to take a different spin on it.
So I think what we've kind of run into is, because I'm assuming you're asking like circulation staff, and youth services who deal with the books to kind of put those aside. Our challenges is we ask the staff and the managers to kind of give us content, like what do you want us to promote? And they kind of do it for a few weeks and then they forget because, well, we are very, very, very short staffed right now. So I think it's just the timing, the time aspect too, because they'll be into it and then they'll kind of forget about it. And then I feel like a jerk that I keep reminding them like, hey, give me social media stuff. What do you want? And it's really just, they usually just want programs promoted. So as you know, we've got a lot of programs and you can only promote so many programs.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
And I do programs, so I get it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. If you're ever struggling to find a book face though, head to the romance part of your collection.
Oh yeah.
they are wonderfully cheesy, especially for the month of February, to get some decent ones going.
Which library are you guys from again?
Lincolnwood.
Okay, I'll follow you guys so I can steal some ideas.
Oh yeah, please steal away. Yeah, that's kind of a tough one though, is soliciting that information from staff as to what they want to promote that's not a program. Actually, and I don't really mean to monopolize this conversation, but to get a little bit around that, what we've asked people to do is when they're submitting their programs for us to put into Communico or anything else, they have to answer 3 questions. One, why is this program relevant, or what kind of is the draw for this program, from a pop culture perspective, or from this is going to help your life, this is going to make you better, whatever. What parts of the collection does this pertain to? So are there book examples that could benefit this or supplement this program? And then are there any connections to our online resources? So for example, if somebody were submitting a crafting program, I would expect them to say that Creative Bug would help with this, and maybe even lynda.com if there's a training for it. By the way, here's the specific titles for those things. And then it's easy for us to say, hey, there's a jewelry making class on Sunday, but by the way, if you can't make it, or did you know we have Creative Bug where you can learn some of this stuff on your own as you go. So it takes that one program and really then gives you 4 different avenues to connect it to, which is just 4 pieces of content for social media. And I guess you could kind of broaden that out to be more, specific or more general too, if you wanted to customize questions for different communities or different programs too. Just making sure I didn't miss anything in the chat. We're kind of coming up on that noon hour, so I don't want to keep people too long. I think we could probably have this conversation go until tomorrow morning, but if there's any last minute questions or anything that anybody would like to ask or contribute or show off, I think this has been a really positive conversation. And one of the things that I keep reminding myself during the pandemic is to look for opportunities rather than just roadblocks. I think For example, one of the things, we have a pretty healthy continuing education line that's mainly for out-of-town conferences and everything else that's really not going to happen or has been reduced because the cost has been reduced because it's all going virtual. And so we're looking at ways to expand that to more staff for online training opportunities that maybe aren't like library specific, but they're job related specific. Rather than having a librarian take a cataloging class, we'll have a librarian take a user instruction class, or just kind of reevaluate those skills, try to rebuild some of those things. So does anybody have any sort of to kind of end on to keep the positive note going, sort of go back to what Karen pitched, any good positive success stories or even communications examples that have worked really well in the past 8 months for you?
Before we go to that, I was just going to mention on the topic of continuing education, if anybody uses Creative Cloud for Adobe, and if you haven't already watched all the Adobe Max sessions that was like 2 weeks ago, like those are pre-recorded, go back and watch them because you'll be like, I'm blown. Anyway, that's it.
Nice, thank you. One service that we subscribe to here for staff use is called creativelive.com. I think there's a free component of it. So like whatever they're broadcasting live is free, but otherwise it's $250 or $300 a year. And then you can go back and watch all of the training modules, but it's basically like if Masterclass and lynda.com had a baby and it was like an artsy hipster kid, it would live in this platform and it would teach everybody how to do like graphic design and photography and stuff. But it's a really great resource, creativelive.com. And thank you for sharing that about the Adobe Max stuff. I didn't know that they had put all that stuff out there, but that's fascinating. So now I have stuff to do over the weekend. Thank you. Any other positive success stories or anything? It's okay if not, because you know what? This experience was a positive one. And so we can go ahead and wrap that up right now. But Tamara, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that oh, it's right there already. Okay, in the chat. So the next one's going to be 11 a.m. to noon on Friday, December 4th. I promise we won't do a long introductions type thing over there. We'll kind of just introduce anybody who's new or anything like that. But we'll dive right in. And if I'll make the event or somebody will make the event in the Facebook group. If you're not already a part of that, please join it. Otherwise, look out for those emails from ILA if you're not on Facebook. But if you have any, start thinking about questions now and putting them on the Facebook page, or the Facebook group is the ILA marketing. I think it's combined with Rails and ILA marketing. Let me log into Facebook real quick.
It was, but I think it might just be called ILA Marketing Group now.
Yeah, that's what I have.
It is.
Although I didn't,
Okay.
I don't know if I saw this in there. Was that in here, this meeting? Did I
Yes,
just
it
miss
was.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, there it is. See it. I didn't respond.
Yeah, and there's a link to it too. It's facebook.com/group/ILA marketing. It's a private group, so you'll have to be, somebody will let you in, either myself or another admin. But, I think there's a couple questions, so just answer those and we'll know who you are and make sure that you're not, anybody who you shouldn't be. But
another source that is good on Facebook is the libraries and social media group.
Yes.
Yes,
that's a good one. Love that one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hello everyone, this is Tamara Jenkins. I'm the Communications and Engagement Manager for ILA, and I'm also the liaison to the Marketing Forum. So hi, thank you for attending, but really quickly, I just want to let you know that we are on a search for a manager of the forum. So if you would be interested, or if you know anyone would be interested, please contact me. I'll put my email in the chat box, and I can answer any and all questions, and it's a great group to work with, and I would be your admin person. So the bulk of the work, it wouldn't just be you. I would be there to help. And like I said, the forum members are incredible. They're always, willing to help one another and me. So just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you so much for mentioning that, Tamara. I totally forgot about that aspect, but yes. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay, so on that happy note, it's noon. We can go find some lunch or something, but thank you all for being here and sticking around. This was a great conversation, and we'll do it again in December. Bring your topics, bring your questions, and then kind of bring some ideas for keeping this going in the future. Whether this is a once a month thing or if it's a once every 2 months thing. With Zoom, it just kind of makes it easy to do. So, all right, on that note, I will say goodbye to everybody. Stop talking. Thank you for
Thanks,
being
everyone.
here.